I'm quite humbled to be here today. I think the progress of China over the last 3-4 years has been, in just about every area, has been amazing. And I was just reading the newspaper yesterday that the GDP of China has exceeded that of Japan for the first time in history. So that's really a very significant milestone for this country. And if I can get my slides up there, help continue. So what I plan to do today is to give you my perspective of biopharmaceutical manufacturing. So I'll cover my current scope of responsibility and share with you a little bit of learning. And then I will end the talk with the biosimilar challenges as well as Roche's strategy in this regard. So, the biotech product sales overall in the world today, there's more than 130 billion US dollars worldwide, and is the one that's growing at 7%. If you look at the overall overall pharmaceutical growth in say in the United States, the growth rate is about 3.5%, and most of that is in generic. So biologic represents a very significant, very important area for all pharmaceutical companies. Currently about 17% of the worldwide approved biotech drugs or pharmaceutical drugs are biologics. So all the pharmaceutical products, 17% are biologics. But if you look at Roche's revenue, which includes the Genentech now, 67% of Roche's revenue comes from its biologic product. Approximately half of the new product pipeline in the United States are in biologics, so about 50-50. The probability of success for biologics is slightly higher than that of small molecule overall. So that means that in a few years you'll see more biologic products launched in the United States than with small molecules. It's a great opportunity, but it's also represent a great risk. So I just quoted many documents or articles about the risk in biotech. This is just one in JAMA. And it's a total of 174 biologic products approved by CBER, FDA CBER, and of which about 30 are monoclonal antibodies, but all biologics about 174. And 24% of them had safety-related regulatory actions since the launch. So the caveat is on the right side of the screen that these large complex molecules, we know a lot about them, but we don't know what we don't know. So therefore that it is a pretty high risk. And then all biologic products are introduced through this sort of unnatural path into the body. It's not oral, it's all injectable, bypassing all the body defense mechanisms. As I mentioned, 67% of my company's revenues are from biotech products. We have 106 molecules, commercialized molecules in Roche, about 5,500 different stock keeping units. And of the 106 molecules, 15 are biologics, and they generate 67%. So you can see my challenge running this organization. It's really a very different world in the biologic side compared to the small molecule side. So to support a $34 billion a year revenue, we have 24 plants in 19 locations, approximately, Joe mentioned 12,000 colleagues around the world. And you can see that these are color-coded. The yellow circles are chemical API plants. We have that in Florence, that's not Italy, that's South Carolina. Boulder, Colorado is a peptide plant and a small molecule plant. Castle, Ireland, everybody has a plant in Ireland, so do we. And then Mannheim, Germany, and then Basel, Switzerland. So these are chemical API plants. These solid dosage plants are red squares. They are in Nutley, but we are exiting. By year end, we'll be out of Nutley, New Jersey for manufacturing. So Nutley will be a pure R&D location for Roche. And we're in Toluca, Mexico, Lagny, Spain, and Sagrada, Italy, and Basel, Kaiser, in Switzerland, as well as Shanghai here. We have a plant in Pudong, and that's about 4 employees. The biologic, relatively speaking, I have a much smaller number of plants. The biologic drug substance are the green circles, and we started in South San Francisco about 34 years ago, and in Vacaville, licensed in 2000 in California. Oceanside near San Diego is the plant we acquired from Bausch and Idec in 2005, and we have a big operation in Pennsburg, Germany, as well as Basel. And in the sterile filling facilities, we're in South San Francisco, in Hillsboro, Oregon, and in Basel, Switzerland, as well as in Mannheim and Kaiser. So that's the setup of the company. So people often ask, what do great manufacturing companies have in common? So if you run a manufacturing organization, I think most of you are associated with that. We did some research and some study. We came up with 9 behaviors of an organization that we thought are very important for a manufacturing organization, whether it's biological or small molecules. That for a great organization, we will see these 9 behaviors. The first one is to run the operation one set of numbers. This is a simple concept, but very difficult to achieve. What it means is that you have one set of numbers about your forecast, your budget, and the number you told your boss is the same number you kept for yourself, and the same number you share with your employees. So run one set of numbers with transparency throughout the organization. You have a realistic plan that's shared throughout the organization, very simple concept. Passion for accuracy and simplification, we found these 2 are very important attributes for a successful organization. And effective performance metrics, simple, a handful of good metrics that you can measure, not very complicated, but simple, useful, effective set of metrics. And then the organization would have democracy in planning, but autocracy in execution, meaning that you would get as much input as possible, as much debate as possible in planning, but people don't get confused. Business is not a democracy, so when you execute with determination and with force. And number 7 is also very important one. We kind of learned that from University of the German University in Heidelberg that has this as their motto. That says never uncertain, but always open, which means that you always have a plan you share with all your employees, so no one is confused. You always know the plan. And so it's never uncertain. However, your plan is always open. You always keep an open mind. When there's new input, we change the plan. Number 8, embrace accountability and speaking up. We in my company, we believe in a single person who makes a decision. For a given decision, there's one person who's accountable. So you don't have the phenomena of when you ask who is the decision maker, and people look around and say, well, everybody is a decision maker here. We do it by consensus. We believe that for a successful organization, especially manufacturing, you need to be clear as to who is accountable for that decision, and therefore that person is accountable for all the consequences, both intended and unintended. That person is also accountable for making sure that all inputs and data that can be had are had at the time of the decision making, and then encourage everybody to speak up. So that's a very important attribute. The last one is also important: knowledgeable workforce. That is very clear roles and responsibilities. So